So the other thing that I was going to mention is figuring out my purpose and what I was trying to achieve, like what I was trying to build and what I wanted to achieve. So
Mhm.
I think I was, working constantly, really, really hard, and I don't regret working hard. And I know there's a whole narrative now around hustle and hustle culture, which is very, very negative. And I agree, long term, 24/7 hustle is not sustainable, it's not healthy. But at that time, I needed to do that because it fast tracked my learning by about 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
I worked hard, I failed, but I failed fast and I learned really quick. And then I implemented those learnings to grow at a much faster pace. Um, so I would say that figuring out my purpose helped me change that toxic hustle into an intentional hustle. And that was all around
Yeah.
figuring out what I wanted to achieve. So I wasn't just working 24/7, I was working with purpose and I was working with the right type of clients. I was
Yeah.
building the right culture and actually having a support network around me. I was creating a business that fit with my own personal objectives. And that was things around health, financial security, time freedom. I think a lot of people start a business for those reasons, right? Like to
Yeah.
have to manage your own time and to be flexible and to work from anywhere. And actually, I realized that's why I started. But where I ended up was opposite to all those things. I was working 18-hour days, not leaving the
Yeah.
house. I'd put on loads of weight because I wasn't going to the gym. And I
Yeah.
just paused and thought, wow, like you were supposed to go from here to here, and instead you just dipped. Whilst the
Mhm.
financial side of stuff is amazing,
Yeah.
that was never my biggest goal or motivator. So I flipped the switch on that and thought, okay, what do I want to achieve? Let's work backwards from there and let the business support that.
Oh, beautiful. And so you mentioned purpose a couple of times, and that's a
Yeah.
sexy but sometimes overwhelming word. So right now, like what is motivating you perhaps now? We mentioned the flexibility and time, but could you share anything more around that?
Yeah. I think to be fair, my biggest thing right now is health.
Mm.
I've just recently been listening to a lot of really great podcasts around health and money. I would say the two kind of main things. And when I say money, I probably mean wealth more than that. And I don't mean wealth in monetary terms. I mean wealth in the whole spectrum. Like, what is a wealthy
Mm.
life to me? And for me, that's time freedom, financial security, independence, the ability to
Right.
travel. I want to live a wealthy life, and that doesn't mean like designer things or designer cars.
Yeah.
I could not be less interested in any of those things. But it's
Yeah.
living a life on my own terms. So I'd say that for me is really important. Important, and then health. I really want to get fit and when I was younger, I used to play football. I used to do long distance running. I was
Yeah, you're
really,
so
really
old now.
yeah. I
In
feel
your
like
early 20s. Oh gosh.
I feel like a business ages you though. A business having a business definitely ages you. um, but yeah, so like maybe like 7 8 years ago, I used to play football twice a week. I used to do long distance running. I was doing like a 5K every day.
Whoa.
I was working my way up to a marathon. And that never happened. But I would love to get back into that. I'd love to focus on my health because I think if you're healthy, that's your number one foundation. You can add as many
Mm.
blocks onto your health as you want, but if you don't have a strong foundation, as in health, everything else collapses.
Yeah.
Business, finance, relationships, everything.